want to introduce Dr. Cady from Newburgh, Indiana, CEO at the Cady Wellness Institute. It was just great to meet you and see your presentation here June 2nd. Dr. Cady, good morning and welcome to Millionaire Training. How are you today?
In terms of what's been going on at Cady Wellness Institute, I'm a functional neuropsychiatrist, so my practice is a little bit different from a family physician who is screening people, or should be screening people for disease as well as their problems. My focus is more on the brain. So in my practice, I've gotten really interested in the relationship between the nutrients in LifePak Nano and the brain, as well as total concepts of wellness, because it is, after all, the Wellness Institute. So the institution of the biophotonic scanner in my practice was really interesting. I still remember probably one of the most interesting interactions I ever had with a patient was a retired full bird Marine colonel who, as I took his history, told me that he was on Centrum. And I asked him, so do you know if that's working for you? And he said, well, no. How would you know that? I said, well, I've got a machine here that will read out your antioxidant level. It'll tell us if your vitamin is working. I knew it wouldn't be working. Centrum and one a day just don't cut it. So I scanned him, and he was, as I recall, less than 10,000. And he was offended. And he offended that he had been buying this cheapo vitamin for years and years, and it wasn't doing him any better. He said, what do we do about this? It wasn't, please let me sell you a vitamin. He wanted to know, what do we do about this? And I got him on LifePak Nano. This was like 5-6 years ago. His scan score went up. He's healthy. He's sleeping well. He's now, I think, in his 80s, enjoying life. And that was just a wonderful patient interaction. I've had others where I've shown them, because they're suffering from poor vitality and poor energy, and I'll say, I just want to show you a video, and I'll pull up on YouTube the Age-Lock Vitality Mouse video and show it to them, and usually it takes about 45 seconds, 50 seconds. I say, okay, this is what I want to put you on. Any questions? And they say, no. How do I get it? So it's a fun business. It's fun because it helps people, it helps transform lives, and it's thoroughly in keeping with the tradition that I grew up in. You mentioned Jim Rohn, and Jim Rohn is one of my mentors. Zig Ziglar is a personal friend, and Brian Tracy talked about the fact that in the future, in future centuries, it's going to be known as Ziegler's Law. That is, you can have everything in life you want if you just help enough other people get what they want. And Dr. Will at Mayo Clinic said the needs of the patient come first. And those two things in my practice and with my interaction with patients and my posture, as Jeff Mack would talk about, is all about doing right for the patient and improving the patient's health. So that's what I'm about.
Well, I think that's fantastic. What an amazing mission statement and set of principles that you operate there with. But story resonates, and you naturally do that. Do you think about that in terms of when you're with a patient? Do you say, I got a story for you?
I actually do. Sometimes I'll tell them a joke. And that helps break the ice. I mean, I don't bring them in and say, okay, now I'm going to tell you a joke to break the ice. It comes up naturally. And but yeah, the clinical vignettes and clinical stories are very helpful. Yeah, this reminds me about a patient that's such and such. I don't violate anybody's confidentiality. I'm vague about the details, but I've seen so many people that I have so many life stories and life histories that are bouncing around in my head. By the way, that quote that you mentioned, they just monitor my degeneration, that is a direct quote that one of my patients had to say about the specialist that she was seeing, and it hit me so hard I almost fell out of my chair, and I wrote it down, and I said to myself at the time, that is going into my lectures.
Wow.
And in terms of conventional medicine versus functional integrated medicine, I too, and I appreciate your respectful stance, Dan, I, like you, am not here to denigrate conventional allopathic medicine. I think the healthcare debate that we've had and all the hoopla about the Supreme Court decision recently has brought into focus the current state of our medical system, and it is truly not a healthcare system. It is a sick care system. I frequently comment that in conventional practice, if you do not have disease, you are considered healthy, and if you're dead, you're considered unhealthy. And everything in between is where conventional medicine practices. And the reason is that conventional medicine is largely symptom-focused and symptom-based. And it's like, you have this condition, we have a pill. For example, you have high cholesterol, we have statins. You have inflammation, we have, used to be Vioxx before it started killing people. You have hypertension, we have a blood pressure medication. Instead of, maybe some fish oil would be good for you. Maybe some selenium in a supplement to increase your thyroid and make your thyroid work better and burn off some of the fat on your body would improve your cholesterol and your blood pressure. Maybe you should exercise, like walk around the block. Maybe you should just cut back a little bit on some of the things that you're eating. And so because physicians are now captives, conventional physicians that are engaged in Medicaid, Medicare, and private indemnity insurance policies, HMOs and PPOs, they are required pretty much either by their organizations or by financial exigencies to crank people through their office like widgets. That is what medicine has degenerated into, and the reason is, this is my personal opinion, it's degenerated to that. The reason is that the primary relationship between the patient and the physician, the healthcare provider, has been reduced to where reimbursements for physicians are declining, so they have to work harder and harder and harder just to pay their overhead. And as a result, it's gotten to the point that even my colleagues that are ethical and moral people are trapped in the paradigm that they only have just a few short minutes with the patient, and the only thing they can do is say, you got this symptom, I got a drug for it. You got this symptom, I got a drug for it, instead of a comprehensive, come let us reason together type approach.
I really like how you said that. They are trapped, and we can't denigrate them for that because they are in the trap. You made a choice to be out of the trap, though, and I love, when I roll back the clock 10 years ago, last month when we started in this company, before the scanner even came out, the hope and the prayer that the scanner would do what it was going to do, you had a quote, I believe, that said the scanner, SCS is the real deal. You said carotenoids are it. Well, we kind of knew that. The Journal of American Medical Association 1 year ago this month, or excuse me, 10 years ago this month, said that, people don't get what they need to get it. We know enough now, right? People need a multivitamin. So what kind of, how's your stance on that? You shared the one story with the patient, but you talk about that in your presentations, and you have tremendous candor with that.
Well, thanks, Dan. Couple of things. Number one, if anybody is interested on the actual presentation in Newport Beach, they can go to SlideShare and go through it frame by frame.
Yeah, I actually have that up on the screen right now. So that's slideshare.net/LCadyMD, correct?
Correct.
That's what I'm looking.
And for references on antioxidants, they can go to either the Apple Store or the Android Store and download the Cady Wellness Institute app.
Okay.
And in that app is the CWI focus on antioxidants. It's reference after reference after reference. In terms of how I see the use of supplements in my practice for total wellness and why, you're right. Back in 2002, JAMA, Journal of the American Medical Association, had this article. It was by two doctors, one of whom was, in addition, a doctor of public health. And their conclusion was, pending strong evidence to the contrary, it appears prudent for all Americans to take a multivitamin per day. They took note of the fact that the American diet will prevent obvious vitamin deficiencies like scurvy and rickets, but it was not sufficient to optimize health and wellness. And the NHANES study, NHANES, that was done years ago, showed not one person in this country surveyed, and there were about 16 to 19,000 people surveyed, got all of the nutrients that they needed. Men in particular, I'll make this personal, men in particular did not get enough zinc. Zinc is required to make testosterone. You don't get enough zinc, you don't make enough testosterone. Bad stuff happens if you're a guy, if you don't have enough testosterone. And that's just one of the ingredients. So with my patients, you know, I want my men to be healthy, so they need zinc. I don't want them dropping over from sudden cardiac death, so they need everybody needs essential fatty acids. The biotin that's in LifePak Nano, it's 100% of what you need per day, and that's related to glycemic or blood sugar control. The selenium, it's 200% of the U.S. Minimum recommended allowance, so your thyroid works better and you have more energy. And with more antioxidant, you actually have better sleep at night, and that's directly related to the antioxidant. And you don't hurt as much. So it's just, if there was a panacea, this would be it. I mean, obviously it's not designed, as the disclosures say, to treat, prevent, mitigate, or cure any disease, but it is certainly designed to support the structure and function of the human body. It's just a cunningly designed supplement. I'll tell you something else, Dan. When I'm recommending this to a patient, I will say, this supplement and the other products in this line, LifePak, are the only supplements on the planet that have a performance guarantee. I'm not aware of any other supplement that has a performance guarantee. And the genius of the total wraparound ecosystem, this is like Apple, the Apple ecosystem, the Pharmanex ecosystem for this is we have the scanner, which documents reproducibly, accurately, and is substantiated by the peer-reviewed medical literature that these supplements actually work. And we have the supplements that will raise your carotenoid score. The other point that I made in Newport Beach is if your carotenoid score goes up, that means obviously you're absorbing the carotenoids, which are the most difficult things to absorb from a vitamin supplement complex like this. And so presumptively the other ingredients, the vitamin Bs, the C, the E, all of that's getting absorbed as well. And in fact, I have documented that with other lab testing for my patients. So I tell people the only supplement with a money-back guarantee on the planet. And I can prove that it works, and if it doesn't work, you get all your money back in 2 months. And I mentioned in the presentation that's something I learned from Jay Abraham. It's called risk reversal. And it's built in to the nature of the product because it's such a good product.
Yeah, no, you bring it out so beautifully, too. And I think you also made a comment about where you like to see the score be at a minimum for optimal health.
50,000 and up. The higher, the better. Recently, I put my hand on the scanner as the operator scan. My most recent one was 64,000. I'm comfortable with that.
Yeah, I think most people would be comfortable with that. Well, I want to just thank you guys for taking the time to be here. I am just thrilled by your presence here. It's a Saturday morning. You guys got a lot going on in your worlds, and we're here to build a team. And I love the phrase that what you share gets bigger and what you withhold diminishes. And your ability to share and to give your slideshare.net/LKDMD is very kind of you. I've learned a lot from this, and I can't thank you guys enough for being a part of it today.